So today's case study, you're going to be dealing a little bit with ecology and food chains and food webs. So the introduction to this one is here dealing with border fencing between U.S. and Mexico. In 2008, conservation groups filed petitions with the Supreme Court basically saying that they should not put these fences there because it's going to restrict movement of endangered jaguars. Species that are endangered, they're found in really small numbers, usually with very small geographic distributions. The jaguar, it only eats meat. A large range is necessary for it to find food. So these fences would not actually be a good thing for those jaguars, which are endangered. Restricting their movements, basically, not only does it not allow jaguars to be able to find food to eat, but it actually may isolate them and prevent them from breeding. So once you've read this, go ahead and answer these first 4 questions, and we'll move on. All right, so moving into part 2, here is some reading dealing with some nature preserves and corridors in the United States or in Mexico. So go ahead and read this and then answer these questions 1, 2, and 3. You may want to actually draw a little bit on what you learned in Chapter 3, as well as take a look at Chapter 4, because in Chapter 4 it talks about species diversity and it talks about isolation and some of the things that could actually lead to evolution or extinction because of isolation. This right here is actually a close-up view of the map that you are going to be taking a look at during this activity. So the way that this map is all set up, and again you can see that it's a corridor experiment, Savannah River National Environmental Research in South Carolina. The black areas here show patches, and there are 10 corridors. The solid lines show roads, and the stippled areas are ponds and streams. So basically what you're looking at here is from 1996 to 1998, a scientist by the name of Nick Haddad and several of his colleagues went about studying the effects of artificially created corridors within plantations of pine trees. So the map shows 27 patches of open habitat the scientists created through the removal of trees. So basically all of these patches, you look at it and they're like 128 by 128 meters in size, or twice the size of a baseball diamond. Some of them are connected by corridors. Okay, so whether these patches and corridors seem large or small, the important thing to remember is whether they are small or large to the species that are being studied. Okay, there are butterflies here that don't move more than 128 meters in their entire lives. There are mice here with ranges of maybe only a third of one of those patches. And then there's jaguars that have ranges of at least 10 square kilometers. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at. So taking a look at this, I want you to answer questions 1 through 5 below it. How and why might animals move between habitat patches? So really thinking about animals that are moving between these patches and how they would move between them using those corridors. After you're finished with that, you can actually go over to part 4, and when you're looking at part 4, this actually goes through the methodology and the results of the study of Haddad and kind of what he found. And you can actually see here's the data. The statistical results here are in the corner of each graph. Okay, and down here underneath it, the caption actually will tell you exactly what these things mean. Okay, so it shows the proportion of the species that moved. Okay, and the dark area here are the species that were found in patches that were connected by a corridor, and this was the ones that were unconnected. After you're done doing that, go ahead and go over to page 5 and answer these questions using the data that you see, using the map, using everything that you know from Chapter 3 and Chapter 4. You've got to make sure that all these questions are answered. You need to be prepared to turn these questions in on Friday when you arrive in class. I look forward to seeing you guys soon, and I hope you're enjoying these case studies.